everybody, I'm Lynn Peacock, Senior Editor at Progressive Grocer, and welcome to Top Women in Grocery. It's a podcast that focuses on the trends, topics, and interests that move women forward in the grocery industry. We spotlight extraordinary women with amazing careers and interesting lives who improve the industry and the communities around them. And today I'm so excited to lead another kind of two-fer discussion or a trio discussion. I'm welcoming Avery Knoll and Christine Bainig. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. A little bit more about you guys, so our viewers and our listeners know more about you. Christine Bainig is a past Twig winner in the senior level executives category, so we love having Twigs on here. Christine is currently VP North America at Daymon. She oversees one of Daymon's largest retail accounts, supporting operations. She joined the company in 2009, has served in roles of increasing responsibility, driving client growth through private brand development, merchandising, and retail execution. Prior to starting her career at Daymon, she worked in account management and sales in the food industry for 15 years. Food's always been a passion for Christine. She grew up in a small farming community near San Antonio where feeding families was important to her, and 4-H and FFA played a large role in her early years. She later graduated from Texas A&M with a degree in agricultural development. That's Aggies, right, Christine?
Gig 'em, Aggies.
I got to gig 'em. Am I doing it all right? Yes!
No.
All right, that's great. And outside of work, she's married and a mom of 5. So we know that you have, insights into younger generations as well. Also joining us today is Avery Knoll, studying food and CPG marketing at Western Michigan University. She is a junior, and she's also vice president of marketing at the university's Food Marketing Association. She interned at Advantage Solutions out of the Daymon business in brand management during the summer of 2024 with a retailer, and also started a role with WK Kellogg in their wholesale sales account for the remaining of this school year. So if that's a great background, but can you give our listeners and viewers a little background of how you two know each other? And whoever wants to go first. Christine, do you want to hit that first?
Sure. Yeah, I'll jump in. So we've, for a long time at Advantage Solutions and particularly Daymon, been working with interns, summer interns every year. Over the past 3 years, we've really refined this program and tried to make it as robust and organized and structured as we possibly could. And we do a lot of work with Western Michigan University. And we were connected with Avery last spring as we were going through our internship candidate interview process. And through a very brief, quick and easy interview process, we were honored with the opportunity to bring Avery on for a 12-week internship with our team.
And Avery, you're pretty active in, of course, Western's known for that food marketing program. We are delighted to have them at our Grocery Impact event every year. I love going over to the event in March. It's coming up next March. So, what was that process for you in terms of connecting with that internship last summer?
Yeah, I was in my sophomore year last year, so kind of on the fence of if I wanted to, jumpstart my experience in the industry, and I decided that I think it would be good to start figuring out what I see myself doing early on. And so my professor, who is super connected with all the students and helping us get these opportunities, he kind of connected me with Christine and my manager that I worked with, and we started the process, and I got the job and moved to Texas, and it worked out amazingly. I had a great experience with the company and learned a lot about the industry and just the whole private label side of the business.
And what were some of the biggest takeaways from the experience? I know it's a condensed amount of time, but could you imagine you get that kind of hands-on experience in that short amount of time? Did you just learn a ton?
Yes, this could be a 2-hour podcast if I could go over everything I learned. But I would say some of my biggest takeaways was definitely learning how impactful the collaboration of the retailer and CPG industry is. I got the visibility to work with our SAS teams, doing store walks and understanding the merchandising side, connect with some of our biggest suppliers that we support, and then present my findings to the retailer that we work with to bring their private brands to life. So seeing how all those pieces come together to create a successful product launch is huge and very eye-opening. Definitely taught me a lot. And now my classes, some things are connecting a little bit easier for me. And I just got a whole better understanding of just the whole consumer behavior and the importance that products meet those specific market needs. So working on that account really allowed me to see how such a strong regional retailer creates strong brand identity and connects its customers in meaningful ways. So this hands-on exposure gave me a better appreciation for the power of private label products and how they drive that loyalty and differentiation in the market.
And that's pretty wild to get that after sophomore year. I mean, internships have changed so much to when I was your, oh, I sound like when I was your age, but when I was your age, I didn't necessarily get one till after junior year. I didn't really start thinking about it till after Christmas break. Things have really changed. So Christine, what was your goal in this kind of new internship experience and world of experience and working with interns and really fostering this next generation in a way that's just really cool and that it wasn't like that before, perhaps?
True. Internships have changed quite a bit from when I think, Lynn, you and I were doing them. Avery, by the way, was one of the younger interns that we brought on, but that did not hold her back in any way. She did a great job.
Awesome.
Our goals really were to be able to take on some high performing students and give them a real world experience in the job market, and then more specifically in the private brand and retail industry. And we tried to give Avery a lot of exposure across a lot of different working parts of the organization. She mentioned SAS. We took her to St. Louis to our corporate headquarters where she was able to, work together with her other interns and get to have some real time face to face with our executive leadership team. And we really wanted to give her exposure across, a vast part of the organization so that ultimately when she graduates and when she's talking to her friends and family, Advantage Solutions and Damon and our other operating companies are top of mind and that we're a future employer for her.
Well, and getting experience at top level executives, that's certainly not anything maybe that I got or maybe that other people didn't get of a certain age. That's really important to get comfortable talking to leaders, to learn how to talk to leaders, to gain insights from them. How important was that part of it too, that access and exposure?
Well, for us, it's very intentional. And actually, I think based on the feedback from the interns that we had, we're going to try to even expand upon that because we got a lot of positive feedback.
And Avery, was that cool for you just to learn, like not to be intimidated, that you can learn to interact and engage with people that are willing to share?
Yeah, I think it definitely sets us apart too in the industry when we're interviewing against other schools and other candidates. We have those experiences that some might not get, the communication skills that are sometimes brought on through your first job. So I think that definitely sets us apart. And even the connections, like I was still connected with the executive team and some of the members that I got to meet. I got to do, we have some class projects where we have to find a mentor and interview them. So I reached out to Henley, who is their new business development executive at Advantage. And so got to create a mentorship with her. And so those connections don't go away. And I think that's some of the biggest key things that really help us in sticking through and growing in this industry.
Well, and mentorship is so important. And because this is the Top Women in Grocery podcast, and I guess this is a question for both of you because I want to hear your point of view. So how do you describe the commitment across the industry from solution providers and grocers and educators like Western to prepare young women for a future in food retailing? Christine, you want to take that one first?
Sure. I think that's a great question. I believe that the industry as a whole, I would say specifically Advantage Solutions and Damon really have done a great job of focusing in on women, ensuring that our voices are heard, ensuring that all aspects of what it takes to be a good employee are considered, whether you're male or female. And our company invests in this quite a bit. Where I work, the team I work with, I don't think that any of us look at each other as a man or a woman, That's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's collaborative in that sense. And Avery, I know that there's a lot, and I think Dr. Zwonka has talked about this, just the amount of female students in your program is pretty strong. I don't know what the percentage is. But
it's 68%, I believe, females in the marketing program. So it's it's really empowering to see that growth towards this industry with female leaders trying to step up and get involved into it and finding their passion through it. Like me, myself, I truly do find a passion in it. And our program really does, like all our professors, Dr. Zwanka treats us all as equals. He sees us all as rising stars and wants us to really succeed in this industry. So it's very rewarding to get that comfort and that visibility seen in yourself when you're growing through college. And then my experience in the industry at my past internship this summer really showed that too. I get to see Damon treats everyone as equals. They gave me the opportunity to grow and give my own strategies and ideas that they could take away from myself. So having that visibility, and it means a lot, and it empowers definitely a lot of women to keep rising in this industry.
Yeah, and giving you opportunity, freedom to make a decision, freedom to voice your opinion. That's huge and empowering for the future. Was there anything, Avery, that surprised you about your experience in a good way? Anything maybe when you were working there for a couple weeks or a month that maybe surprised you, either your own performance or maybe about the industry?
I think just like Advantage Solutions and the company as a whole was super surprising, because I think a lot of our students, they always come visit at our company nights and we get to learn about them. And I remember when I first joined, I was so confused at like what Advantage and Damon was and what they did. And just understanding all the different services, the branded, the retailer, the experiential services is huge and very impactful on the retailer and CPG side. So seeing that all that work come to life, like working with the Damon design team, getting to sit on meetings with all of their teams, their corporate analytics that does the consumer behavior and understanding key aspects from that, I think was super surprising. And students don't get to see that hands-on in school. We're just learning kind of the basics and then taking that into our jobs. And then so I get to see hands-on how that comes to life. And also just like the private label side as well, just understanding how it's much more than a cost-saving product, but can also have a better quality or in comparison to the national brands as well.
And Avery, I was talking to some of your fellow students at our Grocery Impact event last week, and they were saying, and they intern all over, Western WMU is internships with retailers and providers and CPGs all around the country. They were talking about sometimes students in other programs are surprised at the amount of responsibilities that they have and the different types of jobs they have. Do you find that with some of your classmates as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And Christine, did you have it? We talked earlier about our own internships experiences. Did you have a mentor earlier in your career, maybe in an internship or earlier in your career that you think of sometimes in your daily work and as now in this position?
I wouldn't say as much a mentor as just I had the opportunity through my degree program at A&M to intern a couple of different times, and I was fortunate enough to land in an internship that really allowed me to take on probably more responsibility than I even should have had as a young student still.
Yeah.
But it was very eye-opening, and it was a real world experience, so that whenever I ventured out into the job market from a career perspective, I was much more prepared. And I had people along the way through those internships that were very supportive. And honestly, like I said, gave me responsibility that was probably above what I should have had at the time. But it was a great learning experience because of that. They trusted.
Well, and there's a freedom, and it's not to say you'll never make mistakes, because you make mistakes and that's part of it as well. Or maybe you learn something you didn't learn. I mean, that's part of the whole process, is getting the freedom to find out maybe things that you don't know and how to ask a question if you don't know, or how to say, ooh, I'm not sure about that. So is that all part of it too? Avery, did you find that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I worked on the produce side in my internship. And so the team I worked with made me feel really comfortable asking questions that I guess some people get scared to ask too many questions, and they made me feel like I could ask questions, be confused, and grow from it, learn from it. And yeah, it impacted my overall success in it because I wasn't scared to ask those questions and get behind.
And are you doing that now? You mentioned you're working with WK Kellogg. Are you using are you just kind of springboarding what you learned that into this too, in terms of just the way you approach things and in the work itself?
Yeah, absolutely. This job's a little bit different, working more on the sales account, where I was doing more of like brand and a competitive analysis overview of the retailers in Texas. But I would say that the communication with employees is definitely carrying over, and the way I work with individuals and some of the skills just from like analyzing data and understanding that and being able to look at numbers differently in this now job. So definitely all my experiences from this summer are going to carry over for the rest of my life.
That's great. And Christine, your program continues to expand. I know it starts at the top with your leadership, and they keep expanding the program. What are you looking at for this coming 2025 season? And I know applications, they're open, maybe they're even closed. I don't know where you guys at in the program right now?
Applications just opened up, and we are starting to bring them in, screen, future candidates, and we'll make decisions in the spring on who we'd like to bring in for the summertime. We've expanded across multiple parts of the company, so broader exposure across Advantage Solutions beyond just statement. And so I think that also opens up avenues for folks with marketing backgrounds, and more than just looking for a specific retailer experience. This is an important program for us, and we're going to continue to work on refining it and getting better. And we're interested in getting the best of the best because we know these are our future leaders, not only in our companies, but across the globe, right?
And I'm sure you bump into them or will over the next 5 years when you see people at industry events and meetings. Like, it's pretty cool to catch up in that sense.
Yes.
And Avery, what did you learn? Did you learn too about work-life balance that we talk about a lot, or having fun? It sounds like you guys had a lot of fun too. What did you kind of learn about that, like the holistic view of a work experience?
Yeah, that's kind of been a topic in some of my classes too, because Amazon's going back to that 5-day work life. And I think it's people my age going into the workforce, like we want to be in the office. We want to build our connections early on so that we can grow. And then when we get older, settle down, have kids, can kind of have the relaxed remote style. But Damon does a great job. Like if you have things come up, if you need to like have an appointment, you can go and do it and work remotely. Come in the office if you want to be in the office. So they do a good balance, I would say, of having the work life definitely adjusted to your style and your preference, but still do a good job of making sure their employees get the job done and still communicate really well. And Advantage is a cool company just because like there's offices all over the country and all over the world, but they still connect each other in all different places. And I think learning that the remote style can work is important, but people are trying to get back to that office lifestyle. But I think there still has to be a balance within companies because they're going to lose employees as well.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Christine? It's been such an interesting time, understatement, but just learning work-life balance and hybrid, and what we're missing from being in office, and what that balance is. What's the kind of the culture there at Damon and Advantage when it comes to that balance?
So I think we've got the best of both worlds here, really. We have the autonomy as business leaders to figure out what the right situation is for our respective businesses, and we've been able to do that. At this particular office here, we have a hybrid model. We, commit to our team members that as long as there's not, a client-specific meeting that would cause you to be in the office, that we, would hold Mondays and Fridays as a work from home opportunity. But we ask anybody that's client-facing that they're in the office 2 or 3 days a week. And we have to talk about it a little bit because I think it's easy to fall back into what's comfortable and easy to do. But ultimately, this is not a big struggle for us. Everybody, once they got over the hurdle of coming back into the office, everybody enjoys being around each other. But then as business leaders, we have to make sure that we're providing a climate, an environment, a culture that they want to be at. Because I call this team, we spend more time with our work family than we probably do with most of our relational families and friends. And so we want this to be a place that everybody enjoys coming to every day. And to me, some of the biggest rewards I can get is listening to an intern like Avery talk about her experience, or when we have folks that come to us wanting to interview for a new job, and perhaps they know somebody on the team, they just talk about immediately about the culture and the climate and how we've been able to provide a really good balance for our employees. So they do have that work-life balance, and that's rewarding.
And Christine, you mentioned that's interesting. You mentioned listening to Avery. And when I was an internship, I'm not sure anyone cared what I thought. I love that you listen to them and you take feedback. Avery, what type of feedback did you provide? And then Christine, how does that kind of shape decisions going into the future?
Yeah, I think my feedback was mostly positive, or pretty much all positive. I think Advantage reached out for overall feedback of the program so they can keep building it and building upon each intern. I think they do that every time. But yeah, my feedback was really good because I always had people reaching out to me and helping me throughout the entire internship process. So I think having that, even though my project was focused on me doing the work and finding the data and insights and giving that feedback to our retailer, the overall feedback from myself for the company was really good, just because they had that understanding of wanting me to make mistakes and learn from them. And if I could figure it out on my own, they wanted to see that, just because it's still every experience helps grow a company. And I think companies can learn from the intern, and I can learn from them as well. So yeah, my feedback was overall really good and really positive towards the culture, the employees, and the project that they gave me.
Love that two-way street. What do you think, Christine? Was that in terms of how that shapes what you do?
Yeah, the feedback's important. I would say when we first started this program, we were in a very different place than where we are now. I don't know that we're doing a podcast about it. But that's because, we listened to where we needed to improve. We had to start somewhere. And we listened to where we needed to improve, where we could improve, what was important to our interns. That's part of the reason why we're increasing the exposure to our ELT team. That's why we added in more exposure across the different divisions and not keeping it limited just to private brand and what happens in the private brand space. It's also actually part of what's allowed us to grow. It's what led to bringing the interns together so that they could have some in-face time, because we got a lot of feedback about that, where they left their counterparts, and then their counterparts were having different experiences. And so, we understood or figured out that connectivity was important. But then I think that this goes even bigger than that. And that's, ensuring that we're listening to everybody in terms of just an overall culture, because our culture is made up of all different ages, all different people with different kinds of backgrounds. And so we don't just take the feedback and think about it for the next internship. While that's important, we're also thinking about the bigger picture, the different generations, how to be a manager and a leader to, folks that were just raised very differently than we were too, right? From a exposure to technology and all those types of things. So there's nothing bad that comes from feedback.
Absolutely. And boy, the future is bright if we keep working this hard. We already have amazing leaders in this industry. So imagine what can happen when we're making amazing young leaders and fostering them is so important. And I'm going to finally leave you on a fun question, because if we're in this industry, we all love to grocery shop. So what are some things, Avery, that you like to shop wherever you're shopping? What are some favorite things that you like to get in your cart?
Yeah, I would say for me recently, I love going to Trader Joe's. I know some of the panelists last week spoke about Trader Joe's and their unique products, and it's just kind of like a treasure hunt when you're shopping through their store. So that's always a fun thing for me. I like finding new air fry foods that can be a cool snack addition to a meal, or but I also am trying to be more in the healthier mindset as well as I grow and want to live longer. So I think finding the best produce too is a really good option, and how to create different dips with that. So I've been looking for new dips, which I've been finding at Aldi's. But yeah, I would say just shopping. One of my favorite products right now too is True Fruits. I know they have the freezer.
Oh yeah, those are good. Yeah.
They also Yeah, they also now have the dry fruit ones, and that was a really good. I tried that at the movies, and it was a good, healthy, kind of healthy snack and treat to add to my night. But yeah,
I'm gonna have to add that to my list instead of the popcorn where I just have to pump whatever that is.
yeah.
So. And Christine, what about you? What do you like to shop for?
I tend to shop predominantly on the perimeter of the store, kind of what Avery was mentioning, staying with more fresh products. I love everything that's coming out in produce with the stir fry kits, and then you're grabbing your protein. So those are my favorite things to shop for. Cheeses, I'm always up for trying out a good new cheese or something from the deli. And then I've got, we've got lots of kids that we're feeding. And so, we're trying to, private label gives you a great opportunity to try some new things and bring it in the household and figure out what's going to get a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
That private label industry just shows no sign of slowing down. And that's something I know you all are working hard on. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to talk with you both, and we appreciate your insights and sharing your stories with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good to see you, Avery.
You too. Across the country.
And if anyone out there in our audience has an idea for a podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to me at lptrack@ensembleiq.com. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.